Hey everyone, James again with TFBTV, and today on TFBTV I have the Hudson H9. Yes, I know I am for some reason the last motherfucker on YouTube to get this gun for review, but hopefully when the Hudson H9A comes out, that's the aluminum frame version, I'll get one a little bit earlier and be able to give you guys some insight on it. But I'm glad to have it. I'm glad the guys at Hudson sent this over for me to review because I really wanted to see what the hubbub is about. Now, I've shot it the past couple of years at SHOT Show, but I really got to run the heck out of this thing on the range, and I've got some very strong opinions about it. So for those of you who don't know what the Hudson H9 is, the H9 actually stirred up a lot of, I don't want to say controversy, but there was a lot of conversation about the H9 because the Hudson H9 is designed to have the lowest possible bore axis. You can see it rides, the frame rides very high in the hand. As you can see here, a very low bore axis, almost in line with your dominant grip hand, and that's accomplished in part due to the fact that they have lowered the recoil assembly. You can see right here the recoil assembly in the unusual nose of this gun, the dust cover, and it gives a very unique look, but it also helps to lower the bore axis by lowering where the recoil rod is. So I can confirm, yes, this is a very smooth shooting 9mm. Whether or not that's a byproduct of the low bore axis and the Hudson design cues, we'll discuss in greater depth in this video, but let's go over the specs real quick and I'll take it out in the range. So the Hudson H9 promises lower felt recoil through design innovations, primarily through lowering of the bore axis. And I look at it basically as a modernized 1911. You have the same grip angle as 1911, virtually the same frame as a 1911, and 1911 shooters are going to feel very comfortable with the Hudson H9A. It even has the non-pivoting trigger. In other words, the trigger goes straight back into the frame. It doesn't pivot like most semi-automatic pistols that you see today. Again, similar to the 1911. And personally, I'm just going to throw it out there right now. I think that the Hudson H9A has the best striker-fired trigger out of any striker-fired factory gun on the market, bar none. I think I've felt all of them, and this is the best one on the market. And really, it has to be a striker-fired gun because of that low bore axis. There really isn't enough room to have a hammer in the back like you would with a single-action only 1911. So does this gimmick work? Is there really lower felt recoil on the Hudson H9A? Well, let's go over the specs real quick and I'll give you my opinion. The Hudson H9A is 7.6 inches long with a 4.28 inch barrel. It's 5.2 inches tall, and it weighs 34 ounces. It's got roughly a 5-pound trigger, and it's 1.24 inches thick. It's got G10 grips and a G10 backstrap. It's got Hackathorn style sights, which are some of my personal favorites. That is a blacked out rear U-notch with a front orange tritium sight. It's got a beveled magazine well, ever so slightly, an excellent mag release, works very well, an ambidextrous slide release. Even though you might not need it, as you can see in some of the videos here, very easy to send the slide home with an inertia charge. Some people see that as a plus, some people see that as a minus. That is, when you slam that magazine into the mag well, if you get it really hard, it will release the slide. So again, some people see it as a plus, some people see it as a minus, whatever, your mileage may vary. It's got forward slide serrations on the slide and overall a very elegant design. It's an all steel gun, and it's got a 15+1 round capacity using proprietary magazines. Unfortunately, no, it doesn't take Glock mags. In my experience with the Hudson H9A, I shot it over an extended period of time. I'm sure Hudson are probably really antsy to get this copy back because I've had it for months, haven't cleaned it once, shot a ton of rounds through it, probably approaching 1,000, haven't had any failures yet. Fit and finish, top notch, up there with the high-end 1911 manufacturers, and I'll get to that in further detail in a second. Really, I have a very favorable impression of this gun. It's one of the best all-metal guns that's been sent to me for review in a long time, and I've been really impressed. Now, I've seen a couple meh reviews on the internet about it, and that's mostly in relation to the hype. There's no question that this is one of the most hyped up guns of all time. Whenever people just saw it for the first time, it instantly generated buzz, and there's a lot of hype. A lot of people see the lower bore axis as a gimmick, so does it really work? I will say this. The Hudson H9A has some of the lowest felt recoil of any 9mm that I have shot. Now, whether or not that's by virtue of the low bore axis or the weight, or most likely a combination of both, because remember, this thing's got an all steel frame, so it weighs like 38 ounces. That's a pretty chunky hog of a gun. But there are a couple other guns out there that have a very low bore axis. I think of the Ruger SR9, which is a fantastic pistol. Not nearly as nice as the Hudson H9A, but a good pistol. You also have the Steyr M9 series. Those guns, very low bore axis. People who are Steyr people, they absolutely love them. And they say that they've got really low felt recoil. And I don't doubt it. I've always thought the Ruger SR9 had very low felt recoil. But let's say, hypothetically, that you had comparable performance from both. And by the way, here's a video of me shooting the Hudson H9 next to the FN509, which also has really low felt recoil. But you can see a difference, not a drastic difference, but you can see a difference with the recoil between these two guns. So can you get low bore axis with a lot of guns on the market that are even less expensive? Yeah, absolutely you can. And I think that that was the focus of a lot of the negative reviews, is people were saying, look, this isn't voodoo, this is kind of a gimmick, and the low bore axis, you can get that elsewhere, and it isn't just Hudson doing this. And they really focused on that point in those reviews, and I think that's a myopic way of looking at the Hudson H9A. What you have to look at is, I feel like with the Hudson H9A, you're getting a reliable, relatively high capacity 9mm that functions and feels like a 1911, and that is probably higher quality than a lot of, like, I'll throw Kimber out there, or even Colt. This is higher quality than those guns, and it costs about the same, if not less, in many cases. So I guess the point is, not only do you have the lower felt recoil, again, I don't know if it's the weight, I don't know if it's the bore axis, but to say, oh, no, you can get this somewhere else. I think that that's an extremely narrow-minded look. You've got the best trigger in its class, striker fired thin. It's got the 1911 frame that you guys love, and I love the sights on it. Everything about it just screams quality, and it's been reliable, and it'll cost you, again, street price, I've seen them for around 900 bucks. Now, would I buy this gun? I don't know. If I was looking for an all-steel gun, or would I buy this rather than a Kimber? Absolutely. I'm not really an all-steel frame gun kind of guy. Again, 38 ounces. Remember, I like to carry my guns. I'm a big concealed carry guy, and 38 ounces is a little bit too chunky, but fortunately, Hudson is coming out with the H9A soon. I hope they send me a copy to review, because I do like the aluminum frame guns, and I can't wait to see what kind of weight reduction you get. I got to shoot it, handle it at SHOT 2018, thought it was fantastic.
The H9A, which is what we're introducing this year, was already planned for. So whenever we introduced last year and people were saying, why start there? Why start with a steel? Why start with a 34-ounce pistol? You know, that's the only reason it's shooting low. We just had to keep it to ourselves for a year, because, like, well, we're going to go the historical path. We're going to go steel, and then we're going to go aluminum. We cut off a half a pound. So you're at 26 ounces nice. with a unloaded magazine. And so, but with the balance how it is, I've had a lot of fun with people picking up their plastic pistols and being able to do that.
They also removed some of the profiling along the side to make it a little bit more narrow. So if they did the Hudson H9A or the H9A Compact, those would be really good candidates for potential concealed carry. And you know what else is neat? Hudson just released a threaded barrel for the Hudson H9. So if you've got a suppressor, you want to put it on there, fire it, you can do it now. Guys, as usual, thanks a ton for watching. Thanks to our sponsor, Ventura Munitions. They sent all the ammo that we used in this video. Thank you to our sponsor, Blue Alpha Gear. Thank you to our Patreon supporters, subscribers, everybody. See you next week.